erase the stigma.
Brain difference is not a crime.
Mental health isn't just your problem.
It's our problem.
And now, Mental Health Mondays with Marla and Dave.
Welcome to Mental Health Mondays with Marla and Dave. I am Marla.
Yes.
And
I am Dave.
We are together, excited to continue our conversation this week with none other than Deanna Robinson. Deanna is friend to Marla and Dave and to the platform of Marla and Dave's show and now Mental Health Mondays. But let me just let you guys know, for those who are tuning in just for episode 2, she's known as the Healing Conversationalist. She's an inspirational coach, a trainer within the NAMI National network, and she's been diagnosed with Schizoaffective Disorder, Bipolar Type 1. She's changed the minds of thousands, sharing the crazy ups and downs of her 27 plus years of lived experience. Her company engages individuals and organizations in conversations and training that promote mental wellness and healing. Her book, Good and Crazy, is expected to be released this summer, in the summer of 2023, which is this upcoming summer. Deanna Robinson is our guest and friend, as we mentioned before, and we can't wait to continue this conversation. Welcome.
And if you guys missed last week's show, I suggest that you actually immediately following this show, run back and check out that one as well. Also, remember to text the word GIVE, G-I-V-E, to 818-698-1021 and support our $1 Today Keeps the Stigma Away campaign. And when we come back, we will continue our riveting discussion with Deanna Robinson. So stay tuned.
Love y'all. Mental Health Mondays with Marla and Dave and NAMI San Fernando Valley believe it doesn't take much to make life a little better for our neighbors, coworkers, friends, our family members, even our children who suffer with mental illness. When you support our $1 Today Keeps the Stigma Away campaign, you are doing your part to erase the stigma surrounding mental illness. For just $1 today, or $1 a day for 1 week, just $7, we can look forward to a future that does not include the unfortunate and uncomfortable stares, bullying, and the subsequent isolation that our loved ones who suffer with brain differences deal with. Text the word GIVE, that's G-I-V-E, to 818-698-1021 to donate. $1 Today Keeps the Stigma Away. Brought to you by Mental Health Mondays with Marla and Dave and NAMI San Fernando Valley.
Deanna, welcome to part 2 with you. Go, Dave.
As you were telling us about the conversations that you had with families, especially those who are dealing with loved ones who have a psychotic feature to their mental illness, and that kind of led us into your work as the Healing Conversationalist. And I know you have your book coming out, Good and Crazy, and that kind of mirrors some of your experiences as it relates to you being the Healing Conversationalist. Why don't you first kind of wrap that up, remind us what you were saying, and then take us into what your book is actually all about.
Sure. So thanks, Dave and Marla, for having me again. You all are just absolutely wonderful. I love having these conversations with you. We were talking last week about, whether or not folks who have psychotic events or, mental illness, do they hide behind their illness, and, bad behavior and things like that. And, I said, yes, folks are, hiding behind it. I mean, we'll, lots of times use anything we can to try to get away with stuff that we just want to do, right? So I had transitioned to talking about how I've had the pleasure of being with families and talking to families who, have a loved one who has mental illness, and quite a few who have loved ones who have psychotic they also have psychotic features to their illness. And families have called me on emergency to come be with their family member who is in the midst of a psychotic break. And when I get there, it is amazing. I just feel like I have a calling on my life, that I have just been gifted in this way. And I'm so grateful, because I know how difficult, how horrible, how painful, how stressful, how overwhelming being in a psychotic state. Not only is it tough on your mind, but it is excruciating on your body. So,
Wow.
yes.
So,
So when I go to these homes, I lead with a sense of compassion, because I know what it's like. So while they
Mm.
may be behaving, in an erratic way to their family, and it's really hard on the family, I definitely have compassion for that. Absolutely. And I'm there to help a person that I feel like is part of my
is
tribe,
that triggering?
right?
Is that triggering for you?
No.
Wow.
No. Well,
Mm.
it's triggering in this way, that my heart is so full of
Mm-hmm.
compassion and wanting to help the person that I know is in pain. I mean,
Hmm.
it's a really difficult place to be psychotic, just to lose touch with consensus reality and to believe this alternate reality that is just so full of confusion. But I know the world well, and I've been able
Hmm.
to navigate that world and come out of it and talk about it in great
Mm.
detail. So when I go in with a person who is psychotic, I am able, because I know that world, I know what it's like. I know what hearing voices is like. I know what seeing hallucinations is like. I know what it feels like to have somatic hallucinations, where you feel things in your body. For instance, I felt like I was going to have a baby, because I was having crowning labor pains. And ladies,
Wow.
you know how labor pains feel. It wasn't like the
Wow.
beginning in the morning when you're getting ready, the labor pains are just starting. No, these were crowning. These were like, and the labor pains were used to get me to do things that I didn't want to do. So,
Wow.
yes. I know what it's like to have all these hallucinations. Like, I've smelled things before that were not, like an apple pie was not around, a cinnamon apple pie was not around, but I smelled it so deeply, like it was right there in front of me. So, for those of you who don't know, you can have hallucinations in any one of your senses.
Senses.
It's not just
Huh.
Mm.
hearing things or seeing things.
So,
So when I go in and I talk to the loved one who is having a psychotic event, I am able to talk to them from a place of, I know where you are right now.
Mm.
I know the street you're on, right?
Mm.
I know those dark
so you
corners
can
that you
confirm
see.
stuff that we
Yeah,
can't. So I
exactly.
got to stop you right there, because of course our
Sure.
son suffers as well.
Yes.
What is from your experience? What is the one thing you could tell Marla and Dave that while our son is experiencing a psychotic episode, we should never do? Marla and Dave,
Okay.
here's Marla and Dave, do not blank.
Okay. And I'll answer that. I just want to finish up
Okay, yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
last
for
thought
sure, for sure,
that
for
we were
sure,
saying.
for sure.
And that is what I'm able to do, since I know where they are. They're in a foreign place, and I know that place now. I've been there, been in the hospital maybe 20 times. And
Mm.
whenever I go to that place, I learn more and more about that place and how I respond as a reasonable person when I'm not ill. Um, how I respond to it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like what it feels like after the fact. And so when I go in and talk to folks who are psychotic, and I'm able to actually have a conversation with them that makes sense to them.
Mm.
It may not make
Mm.
sense to anybody listening in, like what the heck is going on? But
Right. Right. Right.
that person and I know exactly what's going on. When I've gone to the
Wow.
hospital, particularly these last two times, I have been able to, like the worst patients, and when I say the worst patients, I simply mean those that are the most
Difficult,
disruptive
yeah.
and scary. I've
Hmm.
been able to have conversations with them. We laugh. and the staff are looking at us like, what the heck? Or I should say they're looking at me. Because I'm able to laugh with them. I'm able to talk to them.
Right.
We had a situation where, they were playing music and whatnot, and I was dancing with one of the most difficult people, and we were laughing. And of course, people were like, aren't you scared? No, I know
where they
are. I know who they
Wow.
are. I like I say, I lead with compassion, and that's something that the Healing Conversationalist does,
Nice.
right? So just going in and really calming people's minds,
Making you care.
I'm sorry.
I said you
Marla?
care. It's a genuine care.
I absolutely do. And so it's not only just people who are psychotic, right? And that's an extreme state there. But I have always gotten comments from my friends and family that says, I always feel better after talking to you. So I'm like, just think that and it's been forever, and most of my life. So I'm at a place in my life right now. I just turned 55 years old, and I'm at that like real midpoint there where I'm caring a whole lot less about what people think about me and what people say about me. I think I've been through hell and back, and I have deserved and earned and deserved the right to live my life exactly as I please to live my life. And having had one of the worst experiences that you could have as a human being, and having good judgment now, able to talk about it, and so forth. So I'm thankful that I was moved to create the Healing Conversationalist, and as a result of my experiences, write a book. And I feel like I have a lot of books in me.
Yeah.
Me
too.
Tell it all in one
Me
book.
too.
Yeah.
But
for
this
sure.
this book is talks about my journey, of course, but my journey is a backdrop to talking about the world that we live in and how we all are experiencing a collective mental illness.
Yes.
We've got
Now,
so
you know
much.
what?
Yeah.
You just said.
Yep, she did it again.
Every time we listen to you, we're sitting there like, oh, Deanna, what are you going to say next? But you just dropped a heavyweight
I'm gonna
right
let me put this marker out
and
because
we're going to have to unpack that.
the marker that we're putting out is the world is experiencing a collective mental. Did you say mental illness?
Crisis.
Health crisis. Okay,
Yeah,
we'll be back.
illness.
She said mental illness, a collective mental illness.
Wow.
Okay, that's it. Hold that point, and we're gonna tear that can open as soon as we get back from this break.
Indeed.
It's time for the Mental Health Minute with Marla and Dave.
You may have heard us extol the value of talk therapy when it comes to maintaining your mental health. Many people, however, may have a difficult time understanding the difference between a psychologist and a therapist when starting their search for professional help.
A psychologist is a therapist, but every therapist isn't a psychologist. Confused? Allow us to clarify. According to BetterHelp.com, psychologists have a degree in psychology and often have taken advanced studies in the same field, including doctorate and PhD study levels. They may also research topics that interest them along with their colleagues or as faculty for higher education facilities. Their job is to diagnose patients and clients and determine treatments based on their observations.
Therapists can encompass any number of different professions, including social work. The term therapist has often been used to encompass the social workers and a variety of counselors' job descriptions. Because of this, they may hold a degree in various fields, including an MD, a medical doctor, or a PhD, or a master's, or other state-issued licenses. A therapist's function is different based on their area of expertise and their level of qualification.
There are therapists who can help you with every aspect of your mental and emotional health. If you or anyone that you know needs help with finding an appropriate talk therapist, please feel free to contact us here at Mental Health Mondays.
This message is brought to you by Mental Health Mondays with Marla and Dave.
I never do anything without thinking about it first.
Marla is a feeler.
I basically wear my personality on my sleeve.
But when Marla and Dave get together, it's like a match dancing with a firecracker.
This is the face of a match
right.
dancing with a firecracker.
Bang, bang.
Okay,
As
Dina,
our
you made a
movie would say couples therapy. But yes,
right. You made
we're going to talk about this whole diagnosis of the entire world.
Yes, you made a huge statement. Start with your statement and then explain yourself, young lady. Go.
So my book coming out this summer, 2023, is called Good and Crazy, and it definitely tells my journey with mental illness and psychosis, but it talks about the intersectionality between psychosis and spirituality, and how the world is we all are experiencing a collective mental health crisis or mental illness. And we can tell that by all that's going on in the world right now. There is a scripture in the Bible that talks about when the last trump shall sound, then shall the end be, something or another like. And we literally had a gentleman by the name of Donald Trump who brought out the worst, I would say.
Without a shadow of a doubt. I call it the Ghostbuster syndrome.
Right. I mean, it was already there, right? Just hibernating, waiting for that.
For somebody to give it permission.
Right trigger. Yeah, the right trigger to have it blow up, right? And it's amazing that I said blow up and trigger, because we're having we just had a shooting in Texas, right?
At the mall.
Like 9 people died or something.
Yeah,
or another.
It was 8. I think we lost another one. Yes.
Yeah. So we're having mass shooting after mass shooting after mass shooting after mass shooting. Folks are going up into schools, they're going into churches, they're going into supermarkets, they're going into movie theaters. Doesn't matter. You can't go see a movie. You can't go to school. Kids can't go to school. You can't go grocery shopping without the threat of someone taking an AR-15 or whatever
weapon of choice.
Right, their weapon of choice, something that, civilians should not be carrying around. These are weapons of war, weapons of warfare, and it is grotesque how the Second Amendment has been perverted to make it okay for anyone 18 and older to carry a gun of that magnitude, where this last shooting, an EMT went to help a little girl in a bush and she didn't have a face. Okay, this is ridiculous. And you're going to tell me that after all of this, all of the shootings that we have had in our country for years and years now, all these mass shootings, you're going to tell me now a reasonable, sound person, government in their right minds are going to be okay with this? No, I'm sorry. That's a mental health condition.
Issue.
That's a mental health crisis right there.
Agree.
It's a mental health pandemic.
Not going to allow children to die like this. And so you're saying that anybody age 18 and older can own a gun and can go kill people, and some even get off scot-free, Rittenhouse, but you can't, but a 10-year-old child can be raped, carry a baby to term, be traumatized. I mean, you don't even know how difficult it is to carry a baby to term and
be an adult.
One.
As a grown woman.
As a grown woman, I struggled.
As a grown woman, I've done it five times, and I'm sorry. That is not something a 10-year-old has the capacity to endure and stay whole. But you want to tell me that you're the party of pro-life
and law and order.
And law and order, right? So you're defending.
Yeah.
There was something, y'all, that just happened where the teacher was in the room when a young lady, and you can probably guess what color she is, because, racism, I'm sorry, that is a mental illness. You're going to say that you are better or superior or you're worse because of melanin or your lack thereof. That is, I'm sorry, that's crazy. I can say that.
Dina, Dina, you're the only one that has.
What you were actually.
You're the only one that has permission.
Describing what you're actually describing is that things have become, and our perspective has become so ludicrous that it is no other way to describe it other than pathological. We have turned such religiosity into our political perspective that here's the funny part about it, that once you continue so far down that rabbit hole, you're not capable of having the thought that you need to get rid of the other, because you have now attached a level of cultism and religious perspective that it is your duty to actually get rid of the other, and that there's no other way to describe that.
Sure.
As actually it's like likened unto being in an episodic condition,
being psychosis,
where just like you were describing last week, and this is the interesting part about it. It's not that you don't know what you're doing. You've lost the ability to discern that what you're doing is no longer right.
That's exactly right, Dave. I couldn't have said it better myself. You're right on it. I mean, anytime you are going to allow people to become so wealthy, and then to have people begging on the streets and eating out of garbage cans, and that's okay.
Yeah.
There's
something wrong with that.
Okay with you, right? But you're supposed to be religious,
right?
Yeah, and you become inhuman. You don't even realize that you have crossed the plane of what you are. You become inhumane,
right? And Jesus didn't. Right. Jesus didn't, and I'm saying this for those who, practice Christianity and, in this country, Republicans, especially that Bible Belt, they just scripture quoting, Bible toting, zealots. And I'm like, I'm sorry. It's like in the days of Jesus when they put him on the cross. Mm-hmm. He called them white wall sepulchres. Like graves, empty. Right? And he called and hypocrites. How much hypocrisy do you see right now? I am telling you, this world, if you are a believer, so to speak, and let me tell you something, I'm not a religious person. I am a spiritual person, right? Because I could go into a mosque and be good. Could go into a synagogue and be good.
I gotta jump in because I was just gonna say I'm glad you're going here, because the one thing that I know is in finding solutions, and you brought it up in the way that you actually approach families in need, because you said I go in and my heart is full of compassion. So it's the love. So what we don't want to do is return hate. We don't want to support division. What I'm looking for is in the middle of these extremes. It's a world of people who are hurting that need care. And this is my new hashtag. My new hashtag is we must make it cool to care again. We used to care. Your views and your political views and your religious views.
We don't even have to go as far as making it cool. We have to return the humanity back to.
But you know what I'm saying? Beings. Everything is trending, so let's trend that.
Right. Yeah, if I can just interject.
You can't right now. Nope. Stop.
Okay. Sure.
Nope. Nope. Because I have to hear every word you say. Are you breathing? Hold on. Hold that breath. We'll be right back. Go ahead, Dave. Finish your pole dancing routine. It's all about the same thing.
I'm gonna start my wave and wave it back to you. So take it away. Anyway, so this is the pole break, and we are continuing our amazing discussion with Deanna Robinson. So we're gonna take a little break.
I told y'all.
The moment a little bit, and get back to how Deanna actually answered the question last week.
Yep.
And the question was, in 2019, before the pandemic, 11% of U.S. adults were diagnosed with anxiety or depressive disorder. 1 year into the pandemic, that number grew to what percentage? Your options were 25%, 32%, and 40%. And Deanna was like, well, you know what? I'm always going with the highest number because, as she said, we are in a worldwide pandemic of a health crisis.
Mental illness is what she said.
Yes. And so her answer was 40%, and ding, ding, ding.
Ding, ding.
She was absolutely
ding,
correct.
Ding, Deanna, ding, 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 ding. If you were in Vegas, ding, 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 ding.
All right, so Deanna, we're going to actually give you another chance that we can't give you the answer this week, but we'll let you know and let everybody know next week whether you got this correct. Marla, what's the question for next week?
With the rise in U.S. adults with anxiety and depressive disorder, it now rivals the prevalence of what other chronic issue? Obesity, heart disease, or cancer?
Obesity.
Okay, well, that's
Okay,
good
now,
that you
you know
answered,
what?
and we'll tell you when we're ready next week. Okay, not
Back
before
to the
then, but
show.
next week. Did you hold your thought?
I did.
Go.
I got to recall
Good,
it.
because I almost
to
forgot.
answer.
Good. I
I
appreciate that.
had to answer that question. Now, Marla was saying, we want to make it okay to
Care.
We want to
Cool to care.
make it be cool to care again. And I think, Dave, you were saying something a little different than that. Can you tell me?
I was saying we need to return the humanity back to human beings.
Yes. And so, right in if what you all are saying is in the middle, I want to go in the middle of your middle.
I like it.
Because if you look at history, the times when significant change has occurred is violence. We are in a violent time now. I mean, both verbally, physically, mentally, spiritually, we're in a violent time now, right? And there has to be a decisive, not and no disrespect at all, Marla, as you very well know, but not just making it cool to care again. How you do that? And how, Dave, do we bring back the humanity? How is that happening? After being in such a violent, tumultuous, mentally ill world where people don't give two hoots about one another, it is dog eat dog, and I want to get mine, and if you get yours, okay. And half of the time, I don't like it if you get yours. And this kind of sickness deserves, it is called upon some divine intervention, because mankind has proven that they do not have the mental capacity to heal themselves. They need something divine.
Absolutely.
So I'm saying, I mean, we can say niceties, right? Oh, well, let's all just get along. Oh, well, let's all be nice. Oh, can't we just care? How do we get there? Now, I am a person who does believe in as it were, a cataclysmic change or a climactic change.
Right.
How about that?
Right.
I am a person that believes in that, right? And I know I believe very much what the Bible says and what Jesus said. When they tried to trip him up, he was calling the scribes and Pharisees hypocrites, right? And they were trying to trip him up, and they were saying, "Hey, don't you say that you're the Son of God? You're the Son of God." And he was like, "Haven't I said in your scriptures that ye are God?" So not only in the Old Testament does it say you're God, all of us. There's nothing that God is not, and it also says Jesus himself says that. And the problem is that we don't know we're divine. And we're behaving ignorantly. So with all of my heart and the work that I do, I want to help people see who they really are. That is the only way that we are going to change, is we change from the inside out. And if I can be a catalyst in making that change come about, and sometimes, let me tell you, Brother Dave, Sister Marla, that's not going to be pretty. Right.
Well, Deanna,
but
I tell you this. I tell you
Yeah.
this because we are running out of time. And this has been an amazing 2
I told you. What didn't I tell y'all?
Transformational.
I just want to say, didn't I tell y'all?
And Marla did tell us that this was going to be a doozy, and Deanna, you did not, as usual.
Listen. I have to say this to our audience. You follow Deanna, be involved, contact Deanna. There is probably no one else in this space that I know intimately, and I don't mean sexually, I said intimately, that is as authentic and has the experience in the journey and your ability to be able to express it and share it the way that you have since the day I met you.
Well, Deanna, I'm also going to say this, that concept of, and coming full circle from the concept that the world has experienced a global mental health crisis to where we are under some strange pathology. And
Yes.
I love your emphasis on how do we get back to caring. And it is only in understanding that we have so focused on individuating and becoming our own individual that we've lost perspective on the fact that we are all the same.
That's true.
And part of a collective.
We're part of a collective. That's true.
And so we've kind of gone so far that we've lost our connection to one another, and that is a good place to start bringing it back. Deanna, I say you are amazing human being. The healing conversationalist, you have definitely given us some healing today and some perspective.
And I would tend to say, I'm sorry, go ahead, Dave.
I was going to say we want only the best for you as your book, Good and Crazy, comes out this summer. We want you to come back after it comes out.
Absolutely.
So we can actually talk to you about it and the impact that we know that it's going to have.
And I have a strange exit gratitude. I know this is going to sound bizarre. Deanna, of all the times, I am grateful that God trusted you to have these challenges so you could bring this to us. That's the truth. And that's how I feel.
I love y'all, man. I love y'all. Thank you so much for allowing me to be on the show and to express the things that I have expressed. Please get in touch with me. You can visit my website at www.thehealingconvo.com. Please reach out to me directly at Deanna, DEANNA, at thehealingconvo.com. Be at peace, everybody.
Thank you, Deanna.
See you guys next week.
See you guys next week.
Bye-bye now.
It's raw,